Hi, my name is Elena Lopez, and today I'm going to be talking about the Mary Wollstonecraft statue and feminism. So first, I want to start with some statistics. So according to the website Statues for Equality, in one of their articles that they published in 2020, there are 5,993 statues surrounding the United States, but only 394 of them actually represent women. Now I'm going to be talking about the importance of monuments slash statues and the purpose that they serve. So statues play a significant symbolic role in people's lives, with each monument being created for distinct reasons and being designed to serve certain goals, purposes, or even interests. They are naturally intended to honor someone and to indicate that this is a person that is worth remembering, admiring, or following. The ideals and virtues reflected by public remembrance are frequently concepts that are respected in a community, such as intellectuality, hard effort, honesty, and even bravery. The honor of a person by the way of a public statue invites people to get to know this individual that is being depicted in a statue, and also makes them have this a bunch of questions like, why is this person being depicted in a statue? Why is this person important? Why is this person worth admiring or even following? But normally, when we think about statues, we only imagine or we see men and horses being represented as heroes, but we never see women being represented of how revolutionary they are and with their advocacy and success. And here's some proof of men and horses. That is normally what we see. The men depicted normally in a lot of statues is just generic. Represented different roles in life rather than themselves, not individual portraits or nothing, I want to say, that of revolutionary, because we can take maybe one important name and it is made into 20 statues. And it is really generic. And we just see men standing, men seated, men in bronze, men in marble, and just many individuals like that. But this doesn't happen with women. Now, when the statue of a woman is created, controversy, outside opinions, and judgments, they are always present. And that is the case of the Mary Wollstonecraft statue. Known as the mother of feminism, Mary Wollstonecraft, she was a prominent philosopher, educator, and author of landmark works such as what we can see here, A Vindication of the Rights of Women, which was published in 1792, in which she expressed her demands to promote women's rights such as equality in education. She was the second of 7 children, of whom only one of them was able to receive education. In addition, Mary Wollstonecraft grew up in a really violent environment, so she decided to leave home, and she decided to study on her own and just educate herself. As a defender of women's independence, she had a considerable influence on the lives of her own sisters, friends, and people that knew her. She opened a small school in Newington Green along with her 2 sisters and one of her friends. In her most famous work, A Vindication of the Rights of Women, she makes a really strong claim for the rights of women and girls, criticizing the educational system of the time, which deliberately thought that women were incapable, weak, and frivolous. She always advocated for a system of equality for education of girls and boys. Due to Mary Wollstonecraft's impactful activism, many people got inspired by her work. So a sculptor decided to honor Mary Wollstonecraft's work and created a memorial statue, which is the Mary Wollstonecraft statue. A fun fact is that it costed $190,000, and this was in a span of a decade, so 10 years. It was made in 10 years. This is a public sculpture commemorating the 18th century feminist writer and advocate Mary Wollstonecraft, which was unveiled on November 10th of 2020, the year 2020. The work was installed in London by the artist, here in the picture, Maggie Hamblug. The work is a representation of a naked female figure casted in silver bronze, as you can see in the first image, and presents a small nude female emerging out of an organic matter, as you can see on the third picture, and you can see how big it is compared to the person that is taking the picture. This is described as a swirling mingle of female forms at the bottom. Wollstonecraft's most famous quote, "I do not wish women to have power over men, but over themselves," is inscribed on the plinth that is at the bottom. And here's the quote. The sculpture is sited opposite to the Unitarian church that actually Mary Wollstonecraft used to attend when she was alive. However, this inauguration really brought a lot of criticism, considering the work actually as an insult. Some critics perceived the figure as a depiction of Mary Wollstonecraft, which was not. However, like I said, the campaign behind it describes it as a sculpture of an idea. This was not a sculpture of Mary Wollstonecraft, but of her work, her success, and everything that she did while she was alive, and how she keeps inspiring people even today in the modern era. The sculpture was criticized for its depiction of nudity and objectification of the female form, with some consider it inappropriate to present a feminist figure in such a way, which was not what was intended. This was just a form, an art of expression, because what this sculpture actually means, if we can say that, is it represents femininity and the advocacy for women's rights. That's what the artist wanted to do with this sculpture that represented everything that Mary Wollstonecraft did and how inspirational she was. As Mary Wollstonecraft received the name of Britain's first feminist, she will always be there, and she will just stay for the history. And also, this sculpture invites the audience to engage in a visual dialogue about the hardships Wollstonecraft endured and the ideas that she pursued, and also what she was able to achieve. It is also fair to say that women have been overlooked for so long that to dedicate a public statue project may surprise many people. And we can all think of inspirational and successful men without difficulty, but many people struggle to name even a few outstanding women. And this is not due to the lack of women, because there's a lot. Rather, they are just not appreciated on the same level that men are. In the United States, actually, in Washington, D.C., there's an article about this author called Livey, where he talks about how representation in statues has also been a problem with minorities and the POC. And there's just one statue there of an African American woman that was and is still really important. And he also talks about the statistics, where I'm going to be touching that subject. So here we have the monumental gap affecting female statues. As you can see, the United States has even a lower percent of women statues than the United Kingdom, and this is because a lot of people in the United Kingdom, such as organizations and even people in the government — when I say people, I mean women in the government — are really educating themselves about how women are not represented in monuments or statues. We just see this type of women. We see mythical and allegorical figures. We see Aphrodite, Venus from the Greek mythology, and from Christianity, we see Mary, Mother of Jesus, right? When we think about women, we normally think about this type of figures, which are not real women, and that is not what we want. We want females, we want women to be represented just as Mary Wollstonecraft, with their work and the history that they have and the impact. But this is what we normally see, and that is what we're trying to change. Now, how I talked about the representation in statues. So here, what the author of the article, Livey, was trying to say is that he says that there are people called twofers. People who lived part of their lives in the district but were more famous on a national scale. This is happening, in the United States in Washington D.C. A notable two-fair stands in Lincoln Park, as you can see here in the picture, which is the bronze statue of an older African American woman with a cane standing next to two children, and this is Mary McLeod Bethune. Bethune was an educator and civil rights activist from Florida. She lived in the district during the early decades, of the 20th century, and she served as an advisor for former President Franklin D. Roosevelt on issues facing African Americans. The memorial to Bethune was unveiled in Lincoln Park in the year 1974, and it is perhaps the only statue in DC to honor a specific Black woman. These statues are open commemorations honoring historical figures and culturally significant icons. It is said that also to display lesser representation of women and people of color, it is to deem their contributions as lesser themselves. At the same time, it reduces certain people in the public consciousness and uplifts others to decide who is worth to be recognized, which shouldn't be like that. And also, there's a really amazing example of another POC of another minority that are being represented. And this is an example of how powerful women are taking the initiative to inspire other women and girls, and is by creating their own exhibition of statues of real intellectual women in STEM. So here are pictures. This was created by Minerva Cordero in Dallas, Texas. This is called the If Then She Can. This is the exhibit. Includes over 120 life-size sculptures of female STEM leaders. These are real people that work in the STEM field. The vivid orange sculptures generated using 3D scanning and 3D printed are intended to urge girls and boys to pursue the professions that are available to them. It is being acclaimed as one of the greatest collection of female sculptures ever created in one location, and it serves as the focus of the Dallas-based foundation Multifaceted Multimedia If Then initiative. So moreover, 100 sculptures may be seen in the mall central courtyard. As you can see in the pictures, they are actually everywhere in the mall, and it's just so amazing how little girls can go and just be inspired and say, oh, I want to be like them. Now you're asking yourself, how are they going to know, oh, I want to be like them? Because you want to know the story, right? So what they did is that each of the sculptures, they contain a QR code that connects to a web page with background information, images, videos, and stories about the women that are being represented there. STEM is an acronym that stands for science, technology, engineering, and math, and while women make up over half of the broader labor force, they hold only 26% of this in the STEM field. Now, I want to say that women representation in statues is crucial for many reasons. Public statues are a reflection of society's values and the things that they find important. If women are not included in this public visual depiction, then it sends a very clear message that women and the contribution of women are not as important as the one of men. It is so important to give this empowerment to women and also to honor their success, both for the individual and also society as a whole. There are many women, both throughout history and today, who have made a really big impact that actually deserve this platform of having a sculpture just for them. Young girls must see the faces of successful women to be inspired and prove that gender does not matter on the road of success. Young boys must also see them to learn that women are equals and deserve the same opportunities as them. The stories of empowered women are being told one statue at a time, which will be seen around all the world. Thank you so much. This was it for today, and these are my references. Thank you so much.